So we're recording?
Are we
We're recording, okay.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Carl.
We've been talking about doing some a workshop together for a long time, and finally we're going to get a chance to do it and do a workshop called Men in Transitions. And before we get too far along, I want to just to introduce ourselves to our viewers. I'm Carl Siegel. I'm the director of the Imago Center, psychologist, and been working with men for 28 years in therapy and in groups and other workshops. And just really excited to have this opportunity to work with you, Bob. Cool. And if you would introduce yourself.
Sure. You forgot to say that you're just an all-around good guy, too.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, hi, everybody. Devlin. I run a company called Transformation Strategies. Most of my work is with leaders and executive teams and helping them lead the people side of the enterprise better. So I'm really excited to be bringing some of the work that I do there at the personal level together with Carl to all of you.
And Bob is very modest, but he's been doing work with major corporations and with the Army and doing a lot of great work in leadership development. So Bob, Bob is going to be the primary leader on this workshop. And I know you've done things like this many times before, but maybe you would give us just a little bit of an overview of the process that you'll be taking us through on Saturday, May 18th.
May 18th, yeah. Happy to do that. I've been thinking a lot about my work recently, and it really boils down to 4 questions. And so I'll share those 4 questions with you, and we'll work with these 4 questions during the day, either explicitly or implicitly, but it'll let you know kind of how I think and what you can expect. And the 4 questions really are, what makes you who you are? So what are the life experiences, the great things that you were born with, the great things you've developed, all of the life and family you grew up in, all that make you who you are today. The second question, so what makes you who you are? The second one is, what do you care about deeply? Like each of us has stuff that I might care about that maybe other people don't, or maybe there are people that do. I resonate with them. What do you care about deeply, and how does that drive? The question is, why would anyone follow you? They'd probably follow you because you're a nice person. They'd probably follow you some distance because you were their boss. But would they actually really follow you like into the night? Mm-hmm. And what is it about you that would have somebody say, you know what? When it all goes down, I want to be with so-and-so, mm-hmm. and I'm willing to follow them. Mm-hmm. And so why would I follow you? And then the 4th question is, what do you want to leave behind? Mm-hmm. Like either, when you leave this job and go to the next one, or when you move to that next phase of your life, or when you get to the end of the day and you're looking back over the life that you've lived, like, what is it that you want to leave behind? Mm-hmm. So those are 4 questions that really get at the heart of the work that I do. And we're going to bring that to this workshop.
That sounds really great. Let me just see if I got that. So who are you?
Yeah, what makes you who you are?
Who are you? What makes you who you are? The second one is,
what do you care about deeply?
What do you care about deeply? What are you passionate about? Mm-hmm. Who would follow you?
Yeah, and why?
And why? Why would they follow you? Mm-hmm. That's really kind of a leadership question. Mm-hmm. And finally, what do you want to leave behind? What kind of legacy do you want to have? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sounds really, really profound, really great questions, Bob.
Well, and these are questions you and I have been talking about for years, right?
Yeah.
How well you live in the life you were born to lead, right? Yeah. Or you were born to live. So, yeah. So I'm excited to bring this to you. And, we're going to do this in the context of mythology. Mm. Right? So we're going to ask these questions in some form or other. The real question, or the real kind of exploration, is going to happen through through mythology, through the work of Joseph Campbell.
The hero's journey.
Yes. Yeah. So if you know anything about mythology, you probably heard about Joseph Campbell. He's an amazing guy. He's no longer with us in body anyway, but he studied mythologies from all over the world over time. And his gift to the world was he identified this really profound thing that he called the hero's journey. And what it is the human journey. It's a journey every one of us lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could have an experience in this lifetime, and you can relate to somebody from 1,000 years ago in the desert somewhere,
mm-hmm.
right? And you could relate to somebody in rural Russia today,
mm-hmm.
Or somebody in, wherever they are, because of this common thread of humanity articulated through the hero's journey.
And I just think that's so important, Bob, because so many of us, when we're going through difficult times, when we're making a major transition, think that we're doing it alone, or that we're the only people persons that have ever gone through this. And just to know that, their generations have been making this same journey, and that we make this, it's the journey we go through is very similar.
Yeah, it is. It's really the human journey, And so what we're going to do with this in the workshop is I'll spend some time, exploring with you, what this hero's journey is about. But really, the crux of the workshop is actually what journeys have you taken in your life, right? And that's a bit about what makes you who you are. But how does this metaphor, how does this thing that Joseph Campbell articulated, that's been in the fabric of the stories that people have told from forever, how does that relate to you? What journeys have you taken in your life? And what have you learned from those that you probably couldn't have learned anywhere else? You had to take the journey to learn them.
Mm-hmm.
And so out of that journey comes a gift that you bring back to the world from that, right? So we'll work with journeys that you've taken and learn to mine those for the gifts, but also the resilience, like what it took to get through, because these journeys, they have a pattern. And one of the patterns is that they all go through the dark night of the soul. They all go through the belly of the whale. They all go through being lost, confused, like, I don't know where to go from here. And yet somehow we stay with it. We take another step, and all of a sudden we find actually there is a way forward, and we reemerge new and different.
And as you said, it's really helpful to look at our past journeys and look at, what got us through those dark nights of the soul, and what can we borrow from those? What can we learn from those? What wisdom from other men's journeys can we bring into our own to help us get through?
Yeah, I think that's great. And it's absolutely true. It's almost like there are journeys we've taken, and we're at the end of, we've resolved, and we've got the harvest of the ghost journeys we're in the middle of right now. Right? Maybe we're on the way down into that dark night of the soul. We see it coming in, right? But there's no way to go back once you're on it, right? It's like you can't go home again. You've had an experience, you've seen, you've learned. You got to go forward, right? You could stop where you are, but there's not a whole lot of aliveness in the stopping, right? So you want to move forward. So you might be in the middle of a journey, or you might be on the edge of starting one. You like your heart and your soul are saying, you know what? You've always wanted to ... right? Maybe now's the time. So let's take a look at what the threshold is that you're standing in front of, and you're looking out, probably with fear and trepidation, and that would be probably a good thing, right? Yeah. But how do you actually take those steps? So we'll have you explore, what things that you've completed, things you're in the middle of, and maybe things that are kind of wanting to start for you.
Yeah, that just sounds great. Great. And looking at the skills that we need to bring along with us along the way.
Yeah, and that's the transition part, that there are the difficult parts of these stories, but there's also this other side of the story, right? It's the redemption part of the story, which is what is it that caused you to push through and get through it? What's going to help you do that this time? And what skills did you learn along the way? That you keep using the skills word, right? There's a way that we've developed resilience through these journeys, and we are Our bodies are different. Our minds are different. How we think about ourselves, how we think about the world is different for having done these.
All things that we can take with us then on the journey.
Yeah, totally.
So I just want to invite you all to come join us May 18th. It's going to be an all-day event, 9 to 4:30, and you can sign up right on our website. Look forward to seeing you all there.
Great.
Thank you, Bob.
Hope to see you there. Thanks, Carl. This is going to be a good day.
Yeah.